Welcome back into my kitchen. Your favorite country cook. Today I'm making peach cobbler, but it's peach strawberry cobbler. You need 2 pounds of fruit. So I got some peaches and I've cut them all up, but I want to show you a trick in impaling a peach. First thing you want to do is take your paring knife and you're going to put it into 4 sections through the skin. And then you go and do the same thing the opposite direction. So I'm going to round the seed this way, and then in between each one, so now I have 8 wedges on there. Then the easiest way is to take the peeler and peel the skin off to reveal where you've sliced it. Just like this. There's a little bit of skin, it's okay because it gets cooked down anyway. Get as much of it off as you can. Now the pieces that you have that you're peeling off that have a little bit of meat on them, you can make those peach chips in the oven. And I will show you how to do those on another video after. You want to heat your oven up to 350 degrees. This cooks about 30 minutes. Now that I've got my peach peeled, I'm going to put it in those places where I sectioned it, and just take your knife and kind of tilt it to disengage it from the seed. Comes right off really easily this way. I tried it different ways, and this was the easiest way to do it, to get the skin off and get to the meat inside. So, that in there. Now these wedges are kind of thick, so before you put them in your cobbler, you want them to be thinner. So cut each one of those sections in half. So now you have a nice thin little sliver. So you end up with 16 slivers, 8 wedges cut in half. I used a little over 1.5 pounds of peaches in this, and then about 3/4 pound of strawberries, because the strawberries cook down a little bit more than the peaches do. That. This is totally gluten-free as well. Now you can use frozen peaches, you can use canned peaches, but if you do, you want to thaw the peaches out, let them drain off. You don't want any extra moisture in there, because then it'll be really mushy, be like peach soup. And same thing with canned peaches, drain the syrup off. Now strawberries that I'm putting in, to cut that, you just cut the top off, just like that. Cut it in half from top to bottom, this way. And then what I do is I just hold the whole berry there, and I make little thin slivers right across. So these are going to be a little bit thinner than the pieces of peach. That's okay. So now I've got these little strawberry slivers. So now I've got this big bowl full of fruit of peaches and strawberries, and you take your 2 pounds, or in this case it's 2 1/4 because I put strawberries in it. You take those, 1/4 cup of water, and 1/4 cup of firmly packed brown sugar, and you put it in a saucepan on the stove. Let's get these berries in here. Just like that. And you want to bring it to a boil. Stirring it frequently. Once this gets to a boil, then what is added to it, excuse me, is 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch, this is the exact same thing. Arrowroot powder is cornstarch, that's what it is. There's a thickener. And I just use a generic light brown sugar. You can use a dark brown if you want a more richer flavor. And then 1-to-1 baking flour. Gluten-free is what you need. This is Bob's Red Mill. I used it because I wanted to use this up, but I prefer a different brand called Namaste. And I get it online. Pure cane sugar. So when those are boiling, when they get to a boil stage, what I'm going to add to them is the butter, the cornstarch, and the lemon juice. And lemon juice, it's, let's see, I think it's a tablespoon. Yeah, tablespoon of lemon juice, and then the butter. I'm sorry, that's not a quarter cup of water. That's a half a cup of water in there. I'm thinking a quarter cup because I have a quarter cup up here. And then that's the filling part. It goes in a 9x13 pan. You don't have to coat it or anything. You can if you like. You can spray a non-stick spray on there if you choose to, but this one's kind of coated in a way that it doesn't really stick, anything doesn't stick to it. And let's see where we are with this guy. I'm going to put the heat up just a little bit, get it to a boiling stage. Once it starts a bubbling boil, that's when I'm going to add maybe 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, a tablespoon of butter, and the lemon juice. I can't remember. Tablespoon. I always want to put 2 in there, but it's only 1. So then the reason why you need the gluten-free flour, because that's for the crumble part. That's the topping. So in the topping you have 1 cup of gluten-free flour. You have a half a cup of sugar. And then you have 2/3 of a cup of room temperature milk. Now I'm using almond milk. That almond milk's going to make it have a really nice sweet taste. For the sprinkles that you sprinkle on top, it's a teaspoon of nutmeg, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 2 tablespoons, I believe, 2 tablespoons of the granulated sugar, or cane sugar, excuse me. So, we're almost to boiling here. And I have a trivet somewhere. If y'all don't know, country, this is called a trivet. It's basically where you put hot stuff on top, so it doesn't burn your tabletop. I have some wooden ones, but I'm going to use that little ceramic. It's like you can use you can actually use a ceramic tile, a ceramic flooring tile. It works really well. I'll save those for my peach chips. The apple chips were really good. Went over really well. So here's my filling. I'm going to watch it one more second here and make sure it's doing doing the boil thing. And it is. So you don't boil it very long. I just bring it to a boil. Turn that off. As it is boiling, you take it off the heat, and then you add to it the butter. The heat in there, that boiled, is going to melt that butter really well. This is what gives it that creamy kind of taste, besides the other stuff. Put that in there. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And a tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm doing these 1 ingredient at a time. You want it to be thoroughly mixed in between each one. And here's the lemon juice. It's just generic lemon juice. But it's real lemon. It's not a lemon mixture. I've seen some of them where it's part lemon juice and part something else. And then this all goes into the pan. To that 9x13 pan right back here. Pour that in there. evenly spread it out. Like that. Let's save this one right there. I've got my oven preheated. Now for the topping, I've got my 1 cup of the flour, 1-to-1, and then I'm going to add the sugar to it. Need a spatula to mix that in there. And then the butter, melted butter, to it. And then the 2/3 cup of milk. And that's to make the topping that goes on top of the cobbler. Now I'm stirring it with a spatula first, because I find that when I use a whisk first, it gets kind of gloppy, and I don't want it to be like that. It gets caught between the metal wires, you know. Do like this, and scrape everything off the sides. It's another reason why I like these flexible spatulas. Like that. I like to throw everything in the sink as I go, and I don't have to worry about cleaning it up. There's that. These can go because they're done. And I just use the store brand butter. This is the soft tub butter. It melts faster. And so now I've got like this, it almost looks like pancake batter. The consistency is just like a pancake batter. But I see some lumps in there, and I want to take care of those real quick. It's not like homemade gravy where you want lumps. This you don't want lumps. Baking powder. Oh yeah, I did put there. Yeah, there's baking powder in here too. I forgot. 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder in here. So I need to take that, put that in there. So 1 teaspoon and a half. I knew I had the flour in there, but I forgot the baking powder. Had it on the table, totally forgot. But that's why it's good to get the lumps out first, and then when you put the baking powder in there, you don't have to worry about it. So now we've got like, almost like, you know, almost looks like cake icing. So this is going to get spread on top of fruit, or the cobbler. And so, let's see this part. I'm going to take this like that, and I'm going to scoop it out. Now ideally you put it in like big tablespoon kind of globs. And then you want to evenly spread it across the top. Do this like this. Now you can do a topping like this. You can do a buttercrumb topping if you prefer that. Now if I was going to do a buttercrumb, I would be using the cornflake crumbs, which the next one I do, I'm going to actually make one with those so you can see how nice that turns out. But for this one I'm doing the gluten-free flour topping. Strawberries are big in season right now, and the peaches are, depending on where they're getting the peaches from in your area. Some of them are they're kind of puny right now, but they have they're really juicy and sweet. And that's all that matters, is what they taste like. So, when you have a spatula that bends like this one does, it flexes a little, you get more of, you don't waste as much batter. And that's why I sit here and I scrape. I want to get as much of that batter out of there. And then the whole idea is to try to smooth this over the top and cover up as much of that as you can, but if it peeks out around it, that's okay. That is quite alright. I haven't had a cobbler yet that didn't have the fruit like oozing up around it. Not yet, anyway. Or in between it. So I don't mind if it's showing up through there. Just the preferred method is to have it kind of cover it, and it does to a certain extent. So now I've got my topping on it. Now sometimes okay. Sometimes I wrote notes on this about the topping part. Sometimes I will wait until after it's cooked to sprinkle it, but in this case I'm going to sprinkle it up beforehand. So I'm just going to take it with my fingers and just kind of sprinkle it across. Just hit that little cinnamon sugar topping, like this, and like that. It tickles me. It says you might not use all of it. I'm going to use all of it. There's no, this is my recipe, but there were certain elements that I had to write down because I forget to. And seeing the tartness that's in those strawberries will be gone due to the sugar topping. Now it's gluten-free, it's sugar-free. Now you can use sugar-free substitutes if you like, if you're trying to cut down on that, and by all means. So now I'm going to pop it in the oven. And put the timer on. There. So an hour's worth of work, you end up with a really yummy peach strawberry cobbler. And when it's done, I will have a picture of it on here for you to see the end product. If you like this video, please give me a like, thumbs up, and leave me a couple comments if you would like to know any other variations, how to make it vegan. I can tell you how to do that. If I go through my notes and I find that, I'll put it in the description below, and that way you can make it vegan if you like. It's great vegan wise. The only thing that wasn't vegan in this was basically the butter. So I know there are vegan butter substitutes, so for the butter, if you have a vegan substitute, do that. I used almond milk, I didn't use milk, and gluten-free flour, so we know that's on the vegan menu. And everything else was non-animal related, so try it. It's very delicious, and I do apologize for the frog in my throat, but this is allergy season, and it tends to sit right here, and I end up fussing with it for about 4 days, and put a bunch of ginger and lemon. That is what I use to treat this, because with the asthma, the allergy, and the pollen, it always like wreaks havoc on my respiratory system, like anybody else who's got asthma or allergies. This time of year with the pollen bursting out all over, it's not a good fun time. And I just had to get back in the kitchen, do some baking at least, and we'll be doing some main dishes. I'm actually going to show you how to make pasta, gluten-free pasta. I have a pasta machine, so take that out of there. And by all means, share the videos with your friends and anybody else who likes peach cobbler, because peach strawberry cobbler is the best. And you'll get, like I said, I'm going to put up a photograph of it. I'm going to wait until it's done cooking, and then I'll put it up so you get to see it before you see the cooking portion of it. And And definitely subscribe. If you want to see more videos and be one of the first ones to see them that I do, then that's why you subscribe, so that you get notified when I have a new video comes up and it says, hey, the Barefoot Cook, Country Cook, has got a new video for you to see. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Please let me know what your thoughts are, your questions, anything like that. And come back and visit often. And make sure you kick your shoes off when you come in the kitchen, because I do. I'm Barefoot Country Cook, and this is my country cooking kitchen.